Okay, let's learn about chemical energetics. These are the learning objectives. Number one, understand that chemical reactions are accompanied by enthalpy changes, and this reaction can be exothermic or endothermic. Number two, define and use the term a standard condition and enthalpy changes with particular reference. For reaction is delta HR, formation is delta HF, combustion is delta HC, and neutralization is delta H naught. Talking about chemical energetics, it's important for you to also understand about system and surrounding. These two terms will be common use in this chapter. So system is everything that we observe. So for example here, everything inside this cup is the system and surrounding is everything else outside the system. We will use that term to explain about exothermic and endothermic reaction. Okay, I have two graphs here, and I want you to identify the difference between exothermic and endothermic reaction. Please observe the graph carefully. We have the different energy of reactant level in a different reaction. For endothermic is here and exothermic is here. Okay, so based on that graph, we can identify the several difference between endothermic and exothermic reaction. You may read it. So the important thing is for exothermic reaction, it releases the heat of energy to surrounding because it is released, so it will go outside, X. But for endothermic, it will absorb the heat. The heat should coming from the outside or the surrounding. And then, based on that difference, maybe you can give me one example of exothermic or endothermic reaction in your daily life. Yeah, so here are the example for endothermic. For example, in sport, some cooling pack is actually coming from the endothermic reaction. And then here are some example for the exothermic reaction, mostly because it will release energy. So it should release energy to the surrounding. So any combustion reaction will be the example of exothermic reaction. Okay, so maybe in the learning objective, you have heard about enthalpy. So you need to know the meaning of enthalpy. Enthalpy, or the symbol is H of a system, is measure of the energy stored in a system. It cannot be measured directly. So during reaction, the enthalpy of reactant and product is not the same. This results in energy being either given out or taken in during the reaction. This energy is the enthalpy change or delta H. The enthalpy change for a reaction is usually observed as a change in temperature, which can be measured or calculated. And then the enthalpy change of a reaction is the heat energy exchange with its surrounding at constant pressure. Enthalpy is the energy content of the reactant and is given the symbol H. In science, change in is represented by the uppercase of Greek letter delta, and therefore enthalpy change is represented by delta H. It has the unit kilojoules per mole. We have several types of enthalpies. Number one, the standard enthalpy of formation of methane can be represented by C plus 2H2. It will produce CH4. So it will form the methane. and the reactant should coming from the atom in the standard condition. And the symbol for the delta H formation is delta HF. And don't forget to write down the data after the reaction. So the standard enthalpy change of formation is the enthalpy change when 1 mole of a molecule or compound is formed from its element under standard condition. Number 2, the standard enthalpy of combustion of methane can be represented by CH4 plus 2O2. It will produce CO2 plus 2H2O. And for the symbol, it is delta HC for combustion. Now, can you identify the difference between the previous reaction? Yes, for combustion, we need O2 or oxygen. So based on the definition, the standard enthalpy change of combustion is the enthalpy change when 1 mole of a compound is burned in excess oxygen under standard condition. Next, number 3, the standard enthalpy of reaction of water can be represented by 2H2O. It will produce 2H2 plus O2, and the symbol is delta HR. So the standard enthalpy change of reaction is the enthalpy change when the amount of reactant shown in the equation react to give product under standard condition. Last but not least, the standard enthalpy of neutralization. Example is the methane. It is the reaction HCl plus NaOH. It will produce NaCl plus H2O. And the symbol is delta HN or delta H naught. So the standard enthalpy change of neutralization is the enthalpy change when 1 mole of water is formed by the reaction of an acid with an alkali under standard condition. So acid mixed with alkali, it will produce a neutral reaction. Okay, so yes, maybe that's it for today. So let's close with saying Alhamdulillah together. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin, and see you on our next video.